Here we are, paragraph 4, the moment you've all been waiting for. The paragraph in which I will teach you how to use a coordinate plane. We're going to work with a set of axes, quadrants, and in the future even functions and graphs. But it all starts here, the coordinate plane. So, are you ready? Then here we go. I think I can safely assume everyone has opened an atlas at least once. Maybe you were searching for a city on a map, or even trying to find your own house. If so, you might have seen numbers and letters across the sides, corresponding with a grid on the page. And anyone who has ever played Battleship knows that for calling out a bomb strike, you have to call the location by using a letter and a number. These are what we call coordinates. Coordinates are the perfect way of telling a location without much effort. In math, we use two numbers to determine the location of a point in a coordinate plane. Most games, for example Minecraft, also use coordinates to determine the location, but more on that later. A 2D coordinate plane consists of two axes, a horizontal one, which is called the x-axis, and a vertical one, which is called the y-axis. The intersection point of the axis is called the origin. We often write a capital letter O next to it, but sometimes we write a 0. This is a basic coordinate plane, with only positive numbers along the axis. But I could extend the axis so they also have negative numbers. And now we have a complete coordinate system. If I were to place a point here, I could use the coordinate plane to tell its location. Coordinates are told by first looking at the number on the x-axis and then looking by the number at the y-axis. To show everyone we're talking about coordinates, we write the coordinates between brackets. So the coordinates of this point are 3.4. This point, point B, has the coordinates 5.2 and this point C with coordinates 1.3. This point lies on the left side of the origin, so the x-coordinate is negative. The coordinates are minus 3.6. And these are the coordinates for points E, F, G and H. The points here are all placed on grid points. Their coordinates are integers and are placed at intersection points of the grid paper. But I could also place a point in between two grid points. For example, point P. The coordinates of P are 4.5.3. But if I say it like this and write it like this, you might get confused in how to read it. So, to prevent confusion, we can write the 4.5 as the fraction 4.5. Another option is to replace the comma for a semicolon. And that's how we read coordinates. As many of you might know, Minecraft also uses coordinates. But because Minecraft is a 3D game, it has three coordinates, x, y and z. The x and the z are for moving east to west and north-south respectively, while the y coordinates are for determining the height. That is the same for the coordinates in math, but in this chapter we'll stick to just 2D coordinates. What I do have to say is that these coordinates can be used to quickly find the coordinates of a stronghold. Using some algebra and trigonometry, I only need two POIL throws to roughly determine the location of an end portal. Or is that considered cheating? But the reason I bring up Minecraft is because I often hear the same two questions each year. Which axis is which? And do I first have to go horizontally or vertically? So let's use Minecraft as our example so you will never forget. In Minecraft, the y coordinates are for up and down, as at the y level 12 are the most diamonds. And if you remember the alphabet, the x comes before the y, so the first number in the coordinates are for moving left or right, and then we move up or down. You got all that? Perfect. Next up, plotting. Plotting is a word you'll be seeing a lot in this paragraph. Plotting a point is a way of telling you need to place it in a coordinate plane. If you draw a point, you can place it anywhere. But if you see the word plot, this means you have to make a coordinate plane first. So, if you need to plot points A 4.3, B 5.1 and C minus 2.4, you need to make a coordinate plane first. By looking at the coordinates of the points, you can determine how big you need to make it. As there are no negative y coordinates, I don't need a complete coordinate plane. But if you're having any doubt, you can always make a coordinate plane from -5 to 5. Most of the exercises should fit in one of those. So, let's make a set of axes. Don't forget to draw the axes with your pencil, because pens are for amateurs. Then write the numbers on the axes and finally the names of the axes. Also, the numbers should be placed 1 centimeter apart from each other. This is really important. So, do not write the numbers inside the squares, because this looks kinda stupid. When I'm finished with the coordinate plane, I can plot the points. A's coordinates are 4.3. I start at the origin and move 4 squares to the right. Then I move 3 squares up to reach my destination. I mark that location with a point and write its name along with the coordinates. The same must be done for points B 5.1 and C minus 2.4. And that's how you plot points in a coordinate plane. If you make a full coordinate plane, you'll divide the grid paper in 4 areas. These areas are called quadrants in math. We use Roman numerals to number these quadrants. The full positive quadrant receives the number 1. Then we go counterclockwise, so this quadrant is called 2, 3 is bottom left, and bottom right is number 4. Final skill to acquire is determining the coordinates of a point without plotting. Let me explain. If point T has the coordinates 2.3 and I move it 4 squares to the right, I end up with the coordinates 6.3. And if I move up 1 square, my coordinates would change to 6.4. As the first number in the coordinates is the location on the x-axis, the first number only changes when I move left or right. If I move up or down, the y-coordinates change. Be careful when changing quadrants. When I start in point -3.4 and I move 5 squares to the right and 2 squares down, I end up at 2.6. As I move 5 squares to the right, the x-coordinate increases by 5 and -3 plus 5 is equal to 2. And by moving 2 squares down, the y-coordinate decreases by 2. And -4 minus 2 is equal to -6. And that means I started in quadrant 3 and moved into quadrant 4. And with this, we've reached the end of this video. Now you know how to tell the location of a point in a coordinate plane, what a quadrant is, and how to read the coordinates when you move a point around. In the next video, we're going to make a start on reading graphs. Being able to read a graph is a fundamental skill anyone should have, so I hope to see you next time. Bye bye!